Greetings to all my viewers from Anand People's Medicare Society, Shri P.M. Patel Institute of PG Studies and Research in Science campus. There might be few who are not regular students but interested in learning about caspases. I welcome them as well. This is Dr. Raktim Mukherjee, Assistant Professor and Head of the Department, Shri P.M. Patel Institute of PG Studies and Research in Science, affiliated to Sardar Patel University, Anand. In continuation to my introductory talk on apoptosis, the classical experiments in C. elegans, the role of SED3, SED4 and SED9, I continue the topic in this video with the role of caspases in apoptosis. Essentially, whenever you talk about caspases, we always remember the hangman in Supreme Court. Whenever Supreme Court orders a execution, it's the hangman who hangs a person till death. In similar analogous terms, we have caspases, which are also called as executioners of programmed cell death or apoptosis. But then it is very essential for us to know what exactly are these caspases, why the name caspase has been formed, and for this we go to what are caspases. Whenever we talk about caspases, caspases as it stands for are cysteine dependent aspartate specific proteases. You have to highlight whatever is marked in red, where C stands for cysteine, ASP stands for aspartate, and the last four alphabets of proteases is ASES. So together, if you sum up, caspases are cysteine dependent aspartate specific proteases. Some of the key roles of caspases are: they have a role in programmed cell death or apoptosis. They maintain cellular abundance so that there is a delicate balance between cell renewal and cell death. Last but not the least, caspases inactivate cellular infrastructure so that a right balance is established between renewal and cell death that I mentioned. Now, what are the different families of caspases? So when we talk about the families of caspases, there are three families of caspases. Essentially, the three families of caspases are inflammatory, initiator caspase, one which begins the cascade of cell death, and effector caspase, one which ultimately leads to the important events of cell death. First, we will give example of inflammatory caspase. These are the things which you have to remember. You have caspase 1, caspase 4 and caspase 5. 1, 4 and 5 are inflammatory caspases. Talking about initiator caspase, we have caspase 2, 8, 9 and 10, which are initiator caspase. Remember students, initiator caspase initiates the process of cell death or caspase mediated cell death. You have effector caspase. The classical examples are caspase 3, 6 and 7. These are the effector caspases. Now, whenever we talk about caspase, there are multiple targets for caspases. we will talk about some of the essential targets. So what are the caspase targets? When you talk about caspases, the caspase have multiple targets. The very first target of caspases are they act as ICAD. ICAD also stands for inhibitor of DNase. Since DNase is inhibited, you have DNA fragmentation that takes place. It also acts on nuclear lamins. Because it acts on nuclear lamins, there is fragmentation of nucleus. Caspases also act on cytoskeletal proteins such as our first chapter on cytoskeleton, the actin, the myosin, the alpha-actinin, the tubulin, and the vimentin. By disrupting the cytoskeletal proteins, it leads to cell fragmentation as well as membrane blebbing. These were some of the classical signs of apoptosis that we studied earlier. It also acts on Golgi matrix proteins. By acting on the Golgi matrix proteins, it causes fragmentation of Golgi, and it also leads to scramblase. Scramblase is an enzyme which leads to translocation of phosphatidylserine to the cell surface. This was just through flowchart. Now we will go to each one in greater detail. So what are the key targets of caspases? As we saw from the flowchart, the first target, of course, now if going into the detail, is inhibitor of DNase. Since we are talking that caspases inhibits DNase, we should know what would happen if DNase gets activated. Whenever DNase gets activated, it is responsible for fragmentation of nuclear DNA. So when I say fragmentation of nuclear DNA, it means the DNase would fragment the nuclear DNA because DNase, as the name suggests, it will break down the DNA. Now there are certain additional targets of caspases as we saw in the flowchart, and these additional targets of caspases, that caspases also cleaves the nuclear lamins. Once the nuclear lamins are cleaved, it leads to fragmentation of nucleus because breakdown or fragmentation of nucleus. Caspase also cleaves cytoskeletal proteins. Once the cytoskeletal proteins such as the desmins, the vimentins, the tubulins, the actinins, once the cytoskeletal proteins are cleaved, it leads to disruption of cytoskeleton, membrane blebbing, and cell fragmentation. Caspases also acts on Golgi matrix proteins. By acting on the Golgi matrix proteins, it brings about fragmentation of Golgi apparatus. Try to understand, students, whenever we talk about apoptosis, you have to understand that unlike necrosis, apoptosis does not lead to cell damage to the neighboring cells. In necrosis, the dead or dying cells gets entrapped into the extracellular matrix, and thereby it leads to inflammation. On the other hand, in case of apoptosis, the neighboring cells such as macrophages, they very well clear a apoptotic cell. But students, you have to understand one very fundamental concept, that how a macrophage knows that it has to clear or eat away a apoptotic cell, and it should not eat away a normal cell. For this, student, we have to understand A. The cell A suggests is an apoptotic cell. Apoptotic cell on its surface expresses a signal which is called as eat me signal. Eat me signal tells the macrophage, that yes, it is a dying cell and it needs to be eaten up. Again, we need to know what are these eat me signals. These eat me signals are phosphatidyl serine. I am writing it as abbreviated form PS. So my next part of the talk, when you talk about caspases, is translocation of phosphatidyl serine. So how this translocation of phosphatidyl serine to the cell surface? The translocation of phosphatidyl serine to the cell surface is also dependent on caspases. Therefore, caspase targets this for plasma membrane alteration, but this targets, it can be a single target, it can be a multiple targets, but these targets for the plasma membrane alteration, because only when the plasma membrane gets altered, then only the phosphatidyl serine can translocate to the cell surface. So what are the alterations that occurs in the plasma membrane? We are still unaware, or it has not yet been identified. So with all these basics of caspases, the mechanism of caspase action, let's study some of the general aspects of caspases. All caspases are synthesized as inactive precursor. These inactive precursors are called as the procaspases. They are inactive. They are synthesized in a precursor form, but these precursors can be converted into an active form by proteolytic cleavage. And this proteolytic cleavage of the procaspases into caspases is catalyzed by other caspases. Accordingly, we have initiator caspases. The initiator caspases are activated directly in response to the various signals that induce programmed cell death or apoptosis. The initiator caspase, after initiating the activity of caspase, also activates the effector caspase. Effector caspase is the ultimate executioner which will finish and fine tune the entire process of apoptosis. So the initiator caspases, once it cleaves and activates the effector caspase, the effector caspase in turn are responsible for digesting the cellular target, the cellular target proteins. Once the cellular target proteins are digested, only then the events of apoptosis will get completed. Now, this activation of caspases, in fact, student, is a chain reaction. We all understand what is a chain reaction. I always go to my school days example. Earlier school days, we all used to go by bicycle. Some 200 or 300 bicycles are parked in this bicycle stand. One student comes and kicks one cycle. The one cycle falls on the next cycle, the next on the third on the fourth. Likewise, like a wave, entire 100 to 150 cycles fall. and the poor watchman of your school runs after you with a stick because you have just kicked one cycle and all the cycles have fallen. But that watchman has to manually pick up each cycle and put it on a stand. It's quite a cumbersome job. So here also, when you talk about the caspases, there are activation of caspases leads to chain reaction. So what are the chain reactions? The activation of an initiator caspase starts a chain reaction of caspase activation, and this chain reaction of caspase activation eventually leads to cell death or senescence. Now we talked about SED3, SED4 and the negative regulator of apoptosis in C. elegans, that was SED9, and we also talked that SED4 helps SED3 in translocation to the nucleus. So SED3 is the only caspase in C. elegans. What the SED3 does, in case of Drosophila in mammals, they contain the families of at least 7 caspases. So how many caspases in Drosophila in mammals? The answer is at least 7 caspases, and all these 7 caspases are classified as the initiator caspase, which initiates the process of cell death or programmed cell death, and effector caspase. Effector caspase eventually brings out the events of apoptosis. So those were some of the snapshot summaries of caspases. I hope you have understood the role of caspases that we are going to study in the next 2 very important pathways of programmed cell death or apoptosis, the intrinsic and the extrinsic pathway. The knowledge of caspase will help you to understand these pathways in detail. Of course, you can always like and subscribe to this caspase video once it is uploaded. Thank you very much for your kind and valuable attention.